Was furious, but I was still taking care of Wako in the forest. She got angry one day, stood up that she's going to confront you. I begged her. She said enough is enough. I knew if she got to the palace, then you won't marry me again. So I stabbed her repeatedly and regretted it immediately.
Welcome to Moonlight African Folktales. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.
In the land of Ebegele, there lived a kind-hearted king and queen, but had no issue. The king, even at his old age, refused to remarry, loving and trusting his wife, who was also a princess from the neighboring village, a good woman who ruled well. But they had no heir, and the village cabinets were threatening to pass the throne to his younger brother, who has 3 sons, but we are all ruthless, drunks, and womanizers. The king cried alone every night, asking Mirima, the goddess that gives children, where he has gone wrong. While taking his normal walk around the kingdom, he saw a young boy of around 22 years, who was so engrossed and infatuated in the flute he was playing. The king fell in love with the tune and listened keenly. He felt peace and felt as if all his troubles, worries were all washed away. He coughed to catch the boy's attention, and it worked. When he turned around and greeted him, he asked the young boy what he was doing in the forest and what the tune was all about. The boy explained to him that he was playing it for Mirima, and it is also a way he pours his worries, pains, and sorrows out. The king asked him what his problems were. He answered and said, the mother died immediately he was given birth to, and the bush here was where his mother gave birth to him. The father loves him so much, but he is always not around because he is a hunter, while the stepmother has made his life a living hell. The stepmother, Ugochi, has 2 sons and 1 daughter. Whenever it's time to work, he, Ikenga, is the one to be called. Time to wash dishes, Ikenga. Time for firewood, Ikenga. Time to cook, Ikenga. But after cooking, he was likely not to be called to eat. Farm works him alone. Not only that, the abuse and different name callings from the stepmother brothers. Only the sister treated him well and gave him food to eat. His only companion is the sister and the flute, which takes away his worries and sadness. The king felt for him and promised to summon the father and stepmother, which he refused and said it will only increase the wickedness. When a lady cautioned the stepmother, she left him 10 plots of land to weed, make ridges, and plant cassava and yam. Within 4 days, that's how wicked she can be. The king told him to always come to the palace and play flute for him. At the end, he would be given good food and some cowries. He was happy and glad. 2 weeks into playing the flute, it has already spread like wildfire, because some of the villagers came to listen too. The stepmother got to know and collected all the cowries given to him by the king. Ikenga cried at night. He was even chased out to sleep outside the hut at night. Early in the morning, when the dad returned from the forest, he sent his 3 sons to go and fetch firewood. They went. Ikenga brought many home. At that time they were going, they saw an old woman with a heavy basket. The 2 brothers brushed past the woman without greeting her, but Ikenga offered to help the woman carry the basket to her hut. When they got to the hut, he dropped the basket, swept the hut, cooked and fetched firewood for the old woman, and asked why she was living in the heart of the forest. The old woman replied to him and said the villagers chased her there, accusing her of killing her husband and children. Ikenga felt sorry and promised to always help her with her house works and farm work, which he did. On a fateful day, While returning from the palace, Ugoshi blocked Ikenga that night, gave him a water pot, and told him to fill their big keg. Ikenga told her it's midnight already, and today is a market day, meaning no one will go to the stream to fetch water, cause that's the day Ekema, the goddess of fortune, takes her bath in the river. Anyone that goes to the river on that day will be swallowed by Eke the python. She said, "That's even better, so you can leave my family." Ikenga fearfully went on. Getting closer to the stream, he saw a beautiful maiden dancing in the water. He started playing his flute. The maiden continued dancing to it. The maiden turned out to be Ekema, the goddess of fortune, and asked him what he is doing here today. He narrated everything to her, and she told him to go home. On getting home, he discovered that all his kegs were filled. Ugoshi was surprised in the morning to see all his kegs filled and Ikenga unharmed. Her surprise turned to anger, and she lost her cool and started shouting. Immediately, she saw her husband, telling him to take the boy back to where he brought him from. Ikenga asked what she meant. The father tried shutting her up, but she shouted, "Please, take him out of my house. Tell him how you picked him up, and he is not our son. Tell this mysterious boy to get out of our house and never return." Ikenga was still confused, asking what was happening. The father told him to follow him. They went to a corner, and he dropped the bomb that he is not his father. He was picked. The only thing the mother told him was to name him Ikenga and give this bracelet to him when he was of age. Ikenga collected the bracelet and ran off to the old woman's hut. He embraced the old woman and cried. The old woman told him to go to the palace, that she will meet him there. She disappeared. Her hut, everything, her properties disappeared. Ikenga, out of shock and fear, ran to the palace without looking back. On getting there, he met the queen shouting, "Mirma, forgive me. I will confess." And the queen started confessing, telling the king if he remembered Nwako. King said, "Yes, my first love and your best friend, right?" She said yes. Showed the king that Nwako was the one he slept with under the influence of the 2 kegs of palm wine he took alone during his coronation. He disvirgined Nwako that night and even gave her his kingly bracelet. Early morning, she came over to the king's hut and met them. She deceived Nwako and sent her out, telling her to leave. If you saw her, you would order guards to behead her. And she didn't believe me, but she left to her hut. So I laid on your bed, pretending to be the one you slept with, and emotionally blackmailed you into taking responsibility, because I am a princess. You didn't want to leave Nwako. Nwako came after a month to tell you that she is pregnant. I told the guards to block her and tell her you said she should abort it, and you do not want to see her in your village ever again. I still went to her, petting and consoling her. I built a hut for her to live alone in the forest. Your chief guard found out and threatened to tell you if I didn't sleep with him. So I did. I slept with him and conceived. I was 4 months gone when I found out. I wanted to pin the pregnancy on you, but the month wasn't matching. I had no other choice but to go and abort it. When your chief guard found out, he got enraged. Running to go and tell you, I rushed and stabbed him repeatedly till he died. I called my own gods and they buried him. I later found out I lost my womb to that abortion. I was furious, but I was still taking care of Nwako in the forest. She got angry one day, stood up that she's going to confront you. I begged her. She said, "Enough is enough." I knew if she got to the palace, then you won't marry me again. So I stabbed her repeatedly and regretted it immediately. Bending beside her, crying, while she asked me why, I told her I loved you and I've been the one blocking her from seeing you. She shouted out of pain. I was scared and regretted my actions. I ran off when I heard someone's footsteps approaching. I later went back and saw her covered with palm fronds. I noticed huge blood on the floor. I called my gods. They brought her back. That was when we gave her a befitting burial. You mourned and cried. I felt bad and guilty, but I wasn't ready to turn back the hands of time if I was given the opportunity. My only regret was not taking the baby from her belly and pretending to give birth to the baby. The king shouted and sat on the floor, tears streaming down his eyes. He is now 15. He has always loved Mwako. Till now, when the news got to him about finding her dead, he almost lost his own life. Ikenga's foster dad had entered and told them that out of shock, she went into first labor. And since he has been married for 5 years without an issue, he helped her out, and she said he should take care of her child, named him Ikenga, and gave him the bracelet, telling him the father is the king, but he shouldn't take him to the palace. If not, the queen, her best friend, will kill him as she stabbed her before giving up the ghost. At first, the wife accepted him as his. After 2 years, his wife got pregnant and delivered, hence started maltreating and requesting Ikenga be taken back. Ikenga was shocked and speechless until he saw the old woman appear. Everyone bowed to her except him. She changed to a beautiful maiden, and she is Mirima the goddess. She has been the one protecting him even from a Kemma that night. Ikenga was crowned prince. The queen was stoned to death. Ikenga married Asamma, the hunter's daughter. They lived happily ever after. Please like, share, and subscribe to Moonlight Folktales.